my esteemed guest for this morning, I usually would say for the evening, is Todd Bascom, longtime friend. Todd, how you doing?
I'm good. Good morning. Thanks for having me. How are
Hey,
you
you
doing?
know how it is. We usually we try to say it's a family related show, though it usually falls off the rails immediately. I wanna things that I'm grateful for. It says grateful, thankful, and blessed. So that's a self promotion for my buddy Michael Bathurst, who's doing a show now, and he's always talking about what are you grateful for. At this moment, I'm grateful for you, Todd. So, Todd, you are in North Carolina. Your city/state is opened. How rough was this ordeal for the past 15 months?
For me personally,
For you personally?
not very.
Okay.
um, and I always preface that by saying, I understand. I understand that I might be in the minority there. I understand the terrible things that have happened to people with losing family, jobs, things like that. But from a strictly personal sense, I mean, I'm the kind of person. I mean, you know me all my life. If if you tell me to stay away from people, and I'm gonna be just fine doing that. So, for me, outside of the little normal interactions with friends and stuff that I enjoy, not a lot changed for me. So, it was it was an interesting experience, but not a terrible one. It What I'm finding now is uh, I'm a little unnerved by things kind of sort of getting back to normal, where I'm saying to myself, yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like I was enjoying life the way it was, but we'll all get back. I'm excited to. What I am excited about is being able to go back out to concerts, festivals, things like that, ball games. So I did miss that stuff, but I'm glad to
Okay.
have that back.
Um, I know we usually get together. A few of our friends, we try to get together at least once a year, regardless whether it's to go see a game or connect in a specific location. Reacquaint ourselves and have a lot of laughs and jokes about things. I did miss that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if we'll have that this summer or not. It really depends on whether or not people feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to, and uh, look, I mean we can open another can of worms about vaccination cards and and you know whether or not you gotta show it to go here or do this or do that. Um, but I mean uh, I was at a brewery not too long ago, and in Charlottesville, Virginia,
Okay.
and it was actually last weekend, and uh, I remember being inside the brewery, and I was wearing a mask, and most other people that were walking around were. I mean, the people sitting at the bar or whatever weren't, but I think I got a sense of then that wow, this feels like I felt fine doing it. I felt fine being in there, and for a long time I didn't. So that's a good feeling. For a long time, because yeah, people fighting over whether or not they should wear a mask, and it just seems like at this point there's a little bit of normalcy surrounding all of that, and I'm starting to feel better about getting out and doing things. So looking forward to it.
Okay, so my one question about vaccines and all this other stuff. I don't know if your city or your state is doing a lottery. I noticed that a lot of states are doing the lotteries. If you take the vaccine, do you kind of wish that you held back so that you can participate in the lottery?
Well, I can participate in the lottery anytime I want. The Powerball is $500 million, so or whatever it is, Powerball or Mega Millions. Um,
Gotcha,
but
gotcha.
no, I mean, when I was when I was able to do. I mean, all I want to do is, I mean, to keep it real, all I want to do is go to a ball game,
Right.
or go to Brugaloo, or go to the Beer and Bacon Festival or something. That's all I want to be able to do. So the sooner whatever was gonna get me back to being able to do that, I'm good, and I don't need a lottery to spur me on.
Gotcha. So we'll do a quick rapid fire segment because I know you've got a lot going on. It's the weekend. It's beautiful. It's sunny out there.
Yeah, excuse
We're
me, excuse my sunglasses, and I'm sweating. So
yeah. So we're gonna want to get you into a controlled environment. Tell us. So we've heard a lot about with the NHL. We know the playoffs are happening right now, and that's a great thing for the sport. Fans are coming back, in droves. Tell us about growing the game. I mean, during the last 3 months, we've heard about a new deal with the NHL and the ESPN and Turner Sports. Tell us, we know about the money side of it, but tell us from a fan perspective, from someone that loves the game, how do we grow this game in the United States?
well, you got to kind of go back. In my mind, you got to kind of go back to how people get into the game. I'm not gonna get into the story of how I got into it. We could do a whole show on that. But um, to me, it's about reaching. If you want to grow the game, ho- hockey for me is kind of and we don't talk about this. It's kind of like we don't talk about it out loud, but it really is a game for relatively well-to-do people. The equipment's expensive, the ice time's expensive. So I mean, that population is what it is. I think if you want to talk about growing the game, you got to talk about going into communities that don't traditionally do it. Um, and I think I'm a little bit of an example of that. And what I've appreciated, especially this year, and especially after George Floyd's death, is that the NHL has really um, they've really they've and it hasn't just been lip service. They've done a lot to kind of at least show people like me that, hey, we want you in this game. We're trying to get we're trying to get minority youth into the game, and they're doing a lot of outreach. Uh, I've probably spoken about the Ed Snyder Foundation in Philadelphia, which I've been aware of for quite some time. And basically, what they do is if you're a and I may have a little bit of some of the details wrong, but basically what they do is they go into the city and they say, hey, you're going to get free equipment, free ice time. We're going to teach you this game, and it's open to any resident of the city of Philadelphia. Now, who lives in the city of Philadelphia, right? Like, I
Right.
mean, so there's a tremendous opportunity uh, in a place like that to grow the game, as you say. And I like what the NHL is doing there, and I want to see more of that. I see that they're really celebrating the diversity of people in the game. I just saw a story the other day about the first Indian American player, or Indian, I think he's Canadian, um, player in the game, and that kind of legacy. So I think how the game grows is through those foundations, through bringing communities in that traditionally uh, have not been exposed to the sport.
Cool. Hey, um, after we get through the first round, I want to have you come back. so that we can lay out the landscape for the remainder of the playoffs. So if there's time permitting next week, I would love to do that. I have two additional questions for you for rapid fire. One is, with what's happening with Ohtani right now, it's beyond special. Why aren't we hearing about this and all the debate shows and all the above?
Wow. I'm not sure I know how to answer that. I think my guess would be that it's weird. My understanding is that baseball ratings, TV wise, have gone through the roof for
Right.
this season. So why aren't So that begs the question to me: why aren't we hearing more about this guy? Maybe it just kind of speaks to the regional nature of the game. That would be my only guess. I mean, really, did you see that home run he hit earlier this week?
Yes.
It was a ball at his shoulder, and that dude went up. That dude went up and jacked it, and just like, I don't know how many people are baseball fans or players out there, but in order to go up in the zone and hit a ball like that, it's much easier to hit something low and in the zone for that kind of power than to rise up and swing a bat at shoulder level. And I mean, that thing had to go, 350 feet. That's crazy. So, why aren't we hearing about? And listen, maybe some of it is because he's not American.
You know what? We'll leave this on the table, because I don't know if it's because he's not American, or I don't know if it's because it's an MLB problem. But my last question for you is, in the world of boxing. Now we all saw Canelo Alvarez dispose of Billy Joe a few weeks ago. Give me your top best pound for pound, top 3 best pound for pound in the game right now.
Wow. Right now, well, to me, there's no question Canelo is number 1. So that's easy. After that, I mean, it gets a little, I think you got to mention Crawford.
Yes.
I mean, after that, like, I kind of feel like all the great pound for pound guys now are like in that welterweight to middleweight area,
right,
or even up to super middle. So Crawford, Spence, man, I mean, there's just so many great. But I think right now, for me, it's Canelo and Crawford. And then there's a big separation. Not a big separation, but I mean, I feel like those two guys pretty much beat anybody that's put in front of them right now.
It's funny to hear Charlo talking about if Canelo wants that work, I'll give it to him. And I'm like, are you sure about this?
Hey, listen, let's see it, right?
Yes.
let's see
but
it.
But that's the big difference with Canelo. He will fight.
He'll fight
whomever.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Unlike a lot of your, your favorite heavyweights.
Well, that's another thing that just came down, the whole Fury Joshua thing. I just saw Anthony Joshua talking a lot of trash about Fury being a fraud and all of that, and I don't know. I kind of feel like that wasn't that, what happened with that ruling had nothing to do with Fury. But, Joshua has to look, you know how I feel. I think if there's a fraud, it's him. But, that's,
yes.
that's neither here nor there. But But yeah, I mean, do I want to see that? Do I want to see that third? I mean, I would rather see Fury Joshua just because I'm done with him, and just somebody make him go away already. Um, but but yeah, I'm excited about that Wilder Fury fight. I mean, the cool thing about them is that look at Tyson Fury. I mean, if you look at the dude, does that say heavyweight champion of the world
No,
to you?
not at all.
And then you look at Wilder, and that says heavyweight champion of the world. But
Yes.
I love that dynamic. So I'm excited for that third one. But I'm not sure either one of them belong in the. And the one thing about Fury is that he definitely exposed Wilder.
Yes.
And you've heard me talking about Wilder for a long time that he doesn't really know how to fight. He's a devastating puncher, but he got Tyson Fury knows how to fight, and he got schooled that way. So I'm interested in that third fight. I mean, a lot of people aren't, but I am.
Todd, as we transition, Danny Thompson is in the building. Danny, how you doing?
Guys, it's always a pleasure as always. I mean, you have Ted in the kitchen, I'm in the kitchen, and Todd's somewhere outside. Like, I'm jealous.
That's the beauty of I don't know, live streaming and the like. Yeah. Todd, want to definitely thank you for jumping in for a couple of minutes. I do definitely want to schedule something with you post first round. We can do a deep dive on the playoffs. But like I said, that's scheduled committee.
I have some questions for Danny, if you don't mind me sticking around.
Oh yeah, I thought you were pressed for time. Okay,
no, I'm
great.
Not pressed for time at all.
Wonderful.
Man, I'm sitting in the backyard just relaxing. So
oh, okay, cool.
We can do this.
Cool. So, we're gonna transition to my other good buddy, Danny Thompson, who whatever city he's in, he runs.
Here we go.
Podcaster, beat writer, journalist, insider, editor-in-chief, father, and now husband of your beautiful wife. Want to say congratulations.
I appreciate it.
So what's new in your world? We started this off with Todd earlier, and I wanted to, because I'm in New York. New York was super tight, super locked down, but it needed to be. Todd is in North Carolina, and you are no longer in North Carolina. So, what's going on with your world with COVID, the family, your life, and your new life partner?
It's a beautiful thing to be married once again. Marriage is one of those things that, as we all know, the three of us know, when it's done correctly, it's done. It's beautiful when it's done correctly. It's like going to your favorite restaurant.
Don't ask me.
I mean, it to me, being a divorcee and then being remarried, I think it's a beautiful thing. When you have the right person, it makes everything right. And I can't, my life is in a good place right now. The transition to the Virginia areas it's been interesting, but at the end of the day, it's now settling in. It's now getting ready for playoffs and, enjoying the newlywed life and, and get ready. Like, Todd's a teacher, so it's almost summertime for him, and it's almost summertime for me too. Now, Ted, for you, your summertime is always going on, so it really doesn't matter at this point. But
I am the hardest working man in show business. Okay, it depends on what that show business is.
Let's be honest, Ted. I mean, listen. I mean, we see. Todd knows Ted is like the team that's in first place that's already clinched, so he's coasting most of the year.
Yeah, he's not playing his starters. He's everybody. Yeah.
He's waiting for that. Go ahead.
Load management.
Yeah,
load management. That's what
load management.
Ted load management's 11 months out of the year. But no, the wife is great. I'm loving the newlywed life, and like I say, no, it's just now that we're in a great place. It's playoff time in the NBA side. Is the WNBA is starting to kick off and go into full stream, and
I want to stop you. Time out. I get three. We get three a broadcast.
Okay.
Before you start talking about playoffs or anything, or your new beautiful life in Virginia, your wonderful life partner, let's get down to brass tacks. What's going on with Scoot Henderson?
Listen, Scoot Henderson's changing everything. Let's be honest. He's a 17-year-old kid who skipped his final year of high school. He is now going to play in the G League. Now, we already saw high schoolers going as seniors, but he skipped his entire senior year. So he's going to be the youngest, I want to say, in the history of American basketball to turn pro in the United States. Now, we've seen guys go overseas to play at a younger age, but this is completely on a different level. Scoot Henderson is a top 5 prospect in the 2022 class. Point guard, 6'3", electric. Has a lot of super athleticism. His game at 6'3" kind of reminds you a little bit of Derrick Rose because of his explosiveness. Has a little bit of Ja Morant in his game as well, too. Can shoot the basketball. Super intense. And it's changing the game. I mean, we saw what Scoot Henderson did yesterday. We saw what Overtime Elite did yesterday with the 2 kids from Florida. They signed the 2 brothers to a 2-year deal worth over $1 million apiece for 2 17-year-olds who was ranked number 3 and number 12 by ESPN. So now college basketball might want to start shaking because you don't want to, we want to give LeVar Ball props because LeVar Ball started this in the United States. It's just now everybody has a capital to jump behind it. So I think college basketball can be seriously in trouble here, especially if they're handing out checks to juniors, not just seniors. They're handing them out to juniors.
Right. So, I mean, just as you said, so the one and done could be done.
It might be a none and go.
Right. Give me my Ignite deal for $1 million. I get to, whatever my situation is, whether it's a skill set or I don't want to stay for that half a semester or sit in classes for that half a semester. Give me my $1 million, put me in a G League in the development program, minor leagues like everyone else has, and boom, I get to go, pro in a year.
Hey, Danny, can I ask you your opinion on something related
Go
to
ahead.
that? What about? I personally see an irony in the fact that this is happening, and to me, it seems like the one and done rule made this happen. So the whole idea behind the one and done rule was to help college basketball, or I guess, I don't know, but it seems to me that the one and done rule just sort of hastened this, right? Would you agree with that?
I agree in a lot of cases with it. The NBA have been trying to work a way around the one and done rule with the collective bargaining agreement coming up pretty soon. The most important thing with this is the fact that when you look at the perspective of all this, the NBA was expected to change the one and done rule for Imani Bates, who was coming in the league in 2 years. That was the expected goal, to have this thing taken care of. Now this thing is jump starting. Okay. And I think it's not really just the one and done rule. I think when a lot of these high school players watch Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga in that bubble, literally not just play well, but actually play better than 95% of professional basketball players, and they only played in high school. So those guys' stock has basically not only risen, but they're going to be in the top 5 in the NBA lottery. So if you're a 16 or 17-year-old kid thinking, you know what, I'm not going to college anyway, why waste the one semester? I can go get $1 million and play 2 years with professional coaches, with guys that are professionals, and learn the game and get paid and take care of my family now. Because unfortunately, a lot of situations with some of these kids, not every kid, like Todd, you mentioned before, like hockey, they don't have the resources to be able to go and wait time. Some of these kids have families that need support right now. And guess what? Unfortunately, it puts everything on the pressure of a 16 or 17-year-old kid. But I know if I was 16 or 17 years old and I had a chance to make sure my mother didn't have to work again or put it on pause for a while I get to do something I love, You do it. Todd, you see that you're a hockey guy. You see that hockey all the time. You see kids in Canada literally leaving home at 14, 15 years old to go play for these junior hockey clubs with the goal
of families.
Yep, and they have the goal of making the NHL, and a lot of these kids get drafted pretty high. You know, you don't see too many guys go to college in the hockey side of things anymore. That's why college hockey, no one knows about college hockey because the best players don't go to college hockey. I think to your point, Todd, I think within 2-3 years, especially if this becomes more successful and guys are able to see this, the United States had to fall. The United States had to catch up with Australia because 2 years ago, Australia took LaMelo Ball and they took RJ Hampton.
NBDL, right?
Yeah, in the NBL, over in Australia. And then, in years before, we saw Brandon Jennings go to Italy. Remember, Brandon Jennings was the number one recruit in the country and went to Italy to go play ball because he couldn't qualify academically. So this is about to be the new growing trend. Like, you offer a 16-year-old kid $500,000 a year to play basketball and go to school. What, Todd? Todd, you have kids? Ted, you have kids. Todd, I forgot how old your kids are, but I know Ted, your son is about to be a teenager. If your son came to you right now and said, Dad, listen, they offered me $500,000 to go to school and play ball, what are you telling him?
Well, I'm going to be refined. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to want to study the paperwork, and you're going.
I'm telling him you better go get that.
Exactly.
Immediately.
Absolutely.
I mean, and as parents, I think our job is to make sure they invest the money the right way so that it can last. But listen, you're 16, 17 years old, and the most important thing is they're getting their education. It's not like Overtime Elite is not letting these kids go to school. They're going to have tutors there. They're going to have the same education as kids who are homeschooled. Guess what? The homeschool phenomenon has become much more of a, what's that word? A modern trend now. It's not a fad. It's a growing field. And guess what?
And kids in other sports been doing that for years, like in the Olympic sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like diving and swimming, you hear that when the Olympics come around. You hear that he's got tutors year round and blah blah blah. So why not basketball, right?
Exactly.
So as we transition from Scoot Henderson, I think it's apropos that we talk about LeBron James with the vice president, the chairman, the CEO of the LBJ fan club. This, and now everyone, because I know a lot of people are sensitive or whatever. Danny and I and Todd and Hezzy and Bucko and B-Rye and Michael Esposito and a whole host of others, Tori, had been joking about Danny's affinity for LeBron James for almost 10 years. So I'm not taking any shots or anything else like that. But I say all that to say, Danny, what's going on with LeBron James?
He was poked in the eye. What more do you want from this man? He got
and I'm not talking about his acting, the acting job from, what was that, Thursday night or Wednesday night?
All right,
when he's sitting there and he's just like,
listen, the man was seeing 3 rims, okay?
You saw how how he's going to act in Space Jam. And that's going to be released on HBO Max. You saw it all.
It better be.
You saw it all.
All I'm saying is LeBron survived the famous Ric Flair, and Todd knows this, the Ric Flair eye poke of doom. He survived it, okay? He survived the Draymond Green eye poke from doom. They won, and now the Dave McMaxon story from ESPN this morning saying that LeBron James had violated protocol by attending his own tequila event on Monday night before the Warriors game, on Tuesday night before the Warriors game. So now the question is, when you break protocol, now the time away from the team depends on if you got the COVID vaccine shot or not. No one knows if LeBron got the COVID shot, and he's never said anything. The only thing we know is that 85% of the Lakers have got the COVID vaccine. One of them is Dennis Schroeder, who has not gotten it. We don't know who the other player is because the Lakers are still on full-fledged protocol. League rule states that if it's 85% or less of players who are on COVID vaccine, the rules are still stay the same as far as testing and everything else in between. LeBron broke protocol, and we don't know if he's even playing for game one. The NBA has said nothing to this. Now, it's 9:52 Eastern time on a Saturday morning. We'll go from here, and that's all I have to say about that.
Gotcha. Hey, big shout out to Nazim. Nazim, thank you for stopping through. Love finally getting to meet you on Michael Bathurst's broadcast about an hour ago. So he's a man of his word. He said he would stop through, and he did. So give us your landscape of the divisional rounds that start today, Danny. Who wins? Who doesn't?
Well, I mean, if you look at the playoffs from a perspective, I talked about this on Beyond the Buzzer on Thursday night, which is on Blackjack TV, Facebook Live, and everywhere else you can find the show. We talked about the playoffs and who's going to win. So if you look at the matchups today, as far as the games that are happening on Saturday, Ted, can you give me a line for today? Because I'm sure I'm bringing freeze for today. I know today is what we have. The Jazz play tomorrow. The Jazz play tomorrow. Wow, that's why I hate live television, Ted. You do this to me all the time.
Oh no. So we got Miami and Milwaukee.
All right, we'll start there first. Miami, Milwaukee. It's a match. It's a return of last year's, what should have been the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and Milwaukee couldn't do much last year. The difference with Milwaukee this year and last year is that Drew Holiday makes everything different. He makes everything better. He's not Eric Bledsoe, so you won't be on a milk carton throughout the series. But Miami is not the same team Miami was last year. The difference why Miami's not the same is because Tyler Hero hasn't been the same Tyler Hero. Last year in the playoffs, Tyler Hero was helping Jimmy Butler and carrying some of that load. Now Tyler Hero has been in more rap videos than jump shots he's hit all season. He's become much more of South Beach than ball player. They need Tyler Hero because Jimmy Butler can't win this series by himself. Victor Oladipo is not walking back through that door. And if you're expecting guys, I mean, as much as I love Bam Adebayo, Bam's job is to make sure Giannis doesn't kill him in this series. I like the Bucks in this series. I'm not sure how much Miami has left in the tank. Miami is still dangerous with Trevor Ariza, Goran Dragic, and those guys, but I think this is the year Giannis can get extremely far in the playoffs.
So tell me really quick, what's happening with Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat?
I mean, the Miami Heat had injuries. It just happened at different times of the year. They went out at the deadline, got Victor Oladipo, who got hurt 3 games into his time in Miami. He's out with no Jimmy Butler, with no Victor Oladipo, a guy that can help guard the perimeter, a guy that can get to the basket and take some of the offensive pressure off. This is kind of similar to the same Miami team we've seen for years. The only difference is there's no Kelly Olynyk stretching defenses from the 3-point line. They're missing a lot of guys, and they're going to need Goran Dragic. They're going to need Kendrick Nunn. They're going to need Duncan Robinson. They're going to need, Max Strauss. They're going to need a lot of these guys that weren't key members last year to step up their game. But it's going to be an entertaining series. I will say that.
Let's talk Brooklyn, Boston.
I don't know what much to talk about. Boston's shorthanded. Jaylen Brown's not playing in the series. So unless the Celtics go dig up Paul, go dig up Paul Pierce from Instagram Live and Larry Bird, and we can flip this back 10 years. The Nets, as long as the Nets don't collect any injuries, this series almost might be a sweep. The Nets are just the three-headed monsters playing together. And as we all know, when Kyrie, KD, and James Harden play together, James Harden doesn't shoot the ball. He doesn't shoot the ball. That's how loaded they are on the offensive end. Kyrie's the 9th player in the history of the NBA to go 50, 40, 90. And Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. This series is over in 5. I don't think Boston, Jason Tatum, and Kemba Walker will not let them get swept. But it's a 5-game series.
Even though it's not today, I know a lot of New Yorkers want to know about it. let's talk about Knicks and Hawks, and let's talk about, before we talk about that, let's talk about the comments that were made by Nate McMillan about the NBA needing the Knicks to be great again, and the fact that he is, I don't know if the Hawks are going to pick him up.
Well, Sham Shariam's report today saying yesterday saying the Hawks are heavily leaning towards making Nate McMillan the full-time head coach. I think he deserves the job. I think he officially gets the job if he officially gets out of the first round. Nate McMillan ain't won a first-round series since, I think, back in his days in Seattle. It's been that long since he's won a playoff series.
As a player, right?
Yeah, as a player.
He's won one playoff series as a head coach. Just one. He's got to get out of the first round before he talks about job security. Now, as far as the whole thing of shenanigans, yes, he called it out because nobody else was going to. It's New York City. Todd, you're from New York. Ted, you live in New York. There hasn't been this much excitement for Knicks basketball in a very long time. Julius Randle is doing for the city the same thing Amari Stoudemire did when Amari first came to New York. There's excitement in New York. And this is actually a first-round matchup where the Knicks can win. The real key in this series is Tom Thibodeau is going to put back Frank Ntilikina in the series and bring him back in the rotation.
Ooh.
Look, Knicks fans hate it. But as we all know, we watch playoff basketball. And Ted, you were writing. Thank you, Todd. You know, Ted's been watching basketball since the Peach Basket days, so he understands how playoff basketball works. Frank Ntilikina is arguably pound for pound the best on-ball defender the Knicks have at the guard position. And his job will be to make sure Trae Young doesn't shoot 30-foot shots and get himself in rhythm. Kind of the same way that the Memphis Grizzlies put Dylan Brooks on Stephen Curry last night for a lot of the game last night. Curry got his points, but Curry had to work for every single point possible.
Yes.
Julius Randle I think he should win Most Improved Player because, 20, 10, 6 assists, was almost 40% from the three-point line from a guy and he's left-handed. It's an exciting series. Nate McMillan called the right thing. I have the Hawks winning this series, and here's the reason why I have the Hawks in 7. The Knicks are missing Mitchell Robinson, and they need him desperately in the series. Clint Capella is a monster on the board. He grabs almost every rebound possible. The Knicks are going to have to keep him off the glass just in case, for example, if the Knicks go cold from the perimeter or if the Hawks just need rebounding. John Collins is going to stretch the floor. Trae Young is going to shoot. Bojan Bogdanovic and a healthy DeAndre Hunter who had a week off. I'm taking Hawks in 7, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks won the series. This is going to be arguably an excellent series, and I know, Ted, you're going to be watching. I know Todd's going to probably be watching in between Rangers games. But, yes, I think it's going to be a series where you guys will be very, very well entertained.
Well, this is, if you don't mind, Ted, this is where I had my questions for Dan.
No, go ahead.
One, the Rangers didn't make the playoffs, so I don't want to talk about that. Two, my question about the Knicks is this. It's a two-part question. In my opinion, the Knicks, as a lifelong Knicks fan, in my opinion, they're playing with house money now. Anything that happens at this point is a bonus. And I'm not sure that I feel like they should beat the Hawks, but
Yes.
I think that if they don't, I'm not going to be terribly
Yeah, so
unhappy.
Paul, you can come up.
Do you kind of agree with that assessment?
What?
And the second part is, win or lose in this first round, where do you see the Knicks going from here? Is it reasonable for me to think that they're going to be able to get somebody like a Dame Dollar or something? You know what I mean? Do you
Okay.
think, what's realistic for me to expect as a Knicks fan?
Okay, so we'll start with question number 1. As far as the house money question, the Knicks are playing with house money. No one expected the Knicks to be a 4 seed in the playoffs. No one expected the Knicks to have home court advantage in the playoffs. And no one expected the Knicks to be this good, this quick. One thing with Tom Thibodeau's teams, as we all learned, is that they get better their first year because they buy into the defensive principles.
Two things.
The real question is, can they
I got this and I got this thing.
Can they sustain it long term? If they win the series, it's going to be an attractive free agent market. As far as the future goes, I think the Knicks will address the point guard situation in the offseason. As far as Dame Dollar, Dame is one of those guys. it's like Kevin Garnett. They're gonna have to drag him out of Portland for this is said and done. Now I've said it like this: if I'm the Knicks, Lonzo Ball of the New Orleans Pelicans is a perfect fit. He's 6'6", 6'7". He's a big guard that will pass the ball and make shots easier for everybody else. As we hear Ted in the background,
yeah, Ted's doing dishes back there. Or something.
Yeah, we can hear Ted completely because he didn't hit the mute button. Hey Ted, why don't you hit the mute button? There we go. There we go. So, but to answer the question about that, I think Lonzo Ball is a great addition if they go after him in the offseason. Or I can see the Knicks taking some of that space and maybe trading. I just don't want the Knicks not to resign Julius Randle. They got to pay him.
Okay. So here's a quick follow-up for you, though, before I lose my train of thought, because you just brought up something that I've kind of been thinking about. Do you think it's possible that this Knicks team that has done this, do you think when they make their move, do you think we're looking at a different team when all is said and done? Do you see a lot of these pieces that are here now not there either through some trade or something like that?
I think the Knicks will make their splash in free agency. I think that when you have a guy like Worldwide West in the background, you have, a defensive scheme, a defensive-minded coach, and people see winning. And no matter what it is, New York will always be New York. So at the end of the day, I think the Knicks will do something in free agency. I don't see them dismantling this roster through trades unless it's to acquire another star piece. Like I'm talking about a guy that you could put on Broadway. That's the only way you would honestly bring in or dismantle the roster unless you bring in a star player. Knicks fans should be happy where they're going to be for the next next 2 seasons until Thibodeau runs everybody into the ground and then everybody wants out at that point. Enjoy it for the next 2 years.
Or Dolan does something stupid like he did with the Rangers.
Well, listen, Dolan has stepped away and it's working. He got Steve Mills out of there and it's working. So.
Well, that's what we thought about the Rangers too, until he stuck his nose back in.
Right.
And don't get me started on Dolan. But
Steve Mills wasn't the problem. Steve Mills should have remained on the business side. He should have never been moved over to the basketball side. But we got Ace World from the Sunday Night Smoke podcast also in here, who's a Knicks fan. I don't know if he has a question for you, Danny.
Hey, good morning, fellas. How's it going?
Good morning.
Todd, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
All right. Nice to meet you, Danny.
As always.
Ace, do you have a question as a rabid Knicks fan for Danny, our expert basketball analyst?
Well, I just came in during his last expert analytical breakdown. I'm just I got jokes, don't mess with me. But basically, what do you think the ceiling is for this team? You may have mentioned it already because I'm just pulling up to the cast, so I don't want you to have to repeat yourself. If you already breezed over that, we could just keep it moving. But what do you think the ceiling for this team is this season as far as their playoff run?
I think that currently constructed, they can get out of the first round. I think they can get out of the first round, and I think they can cause some problems for Philadelphia in round 2. The problem is without Robinson in the post, you're going to need as many bodies as you need on Joel Embiid in round 2. If you can get out of round 1, you got to deal with Embiid in round 2.
Yeah.
The good thing with the Knicks is Julius Randle is going to be a hard cover regardless.
Always.
So you can't use Tobias Harris on him. We saw what he did at the same time to Paul George like 2 weeks ago in Kawhi Leonard where they tried to step out of him on the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks, the one thing the Knicks have to deal with in the playoffs, like every other team in the playoffs, is it's defense. You're going to have to deal with tougher defenses. The games get smaller, the courts get shorter, and that favors the Sixers. The Sixers are arguably the best defensive team in the league, and so are the Knicks. But the Knicks don't have Joel Embiid. They don't. The Knicks haven't had a center since, I'm not going to count Amari, but going back to Patrick Ewing, that scares people. Embiid terrifies everybody.
Yes.
And if anybody wants a big stage to basically embarrass folks, it's Joel Embiid. All I'm saying is, if the Embiid experiment, the Doc Rivers experiment doesn't work, Joel Embiid's his entire management team is all part of the Knicks. I've been saying this for a while. If Embiid decides to leave Philadelphia, I think he might go up I-95 and become the centerpiece of the Knicks if that's the case down the road.
That would be nice. But I definitely agree with you. Without Mitch, it's definitely gonna be a problem because you wanted to at least have this is old school B-boy. You wanted to have a 3-headed monster. You wanted to have
you just want
the 18. You wanted to have the 18 fouls. You wanted to have the fouls to try to wear him down because he's unstoppable. I'm sorry, he's unstoppable. He's a problem.
And the other part is you also want to be able, and I think the other key for the Knicks in this series and also potentially in round 2 is that RJ Barrett needs to be aggressive from the very first tip off of game 1.
Yes,
RJ Barrett needs to get to the basket. I don't want him. I mean, his jumper's improved all year. I just want him to go to the rim, get to the line because he's a very good free throw shooter. Get himself in rhythm early. Reggie Bullock's going to have to knock down threes, and Thibodeau has to stay out of his own way when it comes to coaching. He's got to play Emmanuel Quigley in the series. He's got to leave Elfrid Payton on the bench.
Please leave him in the crib. Leave Payton at home.
And the other key is the Sixers don't have it. The Sixers and Atlanta don't have an answer for Derrick Rose off the bench. No. If Rose is getting to the rim, another guy that can get to the rim and draw fouls. I think in this series against Atlanta, the key for the Knicks is getting Clint Capella in foul trouble. You got to get him in foul trouble because if Capella's on the boards, he's going to kill the Knicks the entire series. I think one game this year, I think he had 25 boards against the Knicks in one game this season.
As long as it was in a losing effort, it doesn't matter.
I think that game the Hawks won because I want to say Capella had.
I think we owned them this season.
I think Capella had 11 offensive rebounds in one game against the Knicks this season. I want to say, don't quote me, but what I'm saying is, you're going to have to get Capella off the boards because if Atlanta has to go to the bench for bigs, then the Knicks can open things up. And the other part is, can Frank Ntilikina, if he's back in the rotation, if he can guard Trae Young,
yeah, I think
you're not asking him to do anything else. Don't turn the ball over and don't let Trae Young get hot. That's the only thing you're asking of him.
And don't pull up the dribble at the top of the circle, man.
No, I expect
but he can play some D. I think he can D Trae Young up. Sorry.
That's the one thing. If he can D Trae Young up, and then you're forcing Bogdanović and seeing if DeAndre Hunter is healthy enough to win the series, you have a good chance. But if DeAndre Hunter is the DeAndre Hunter that was pre-injury, the 19-6-5 guy that was on 3-and-D, the Knicks are going to have a hard time in the series. But I think it's entertaining, though. I think it's going to be a fun series to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you, brother.
What's the finals?
No problem.
What's the finals?
The NBA finals?
Yeah, what's the finals?
Wait. You got to come back for that one. You got to come back for that one.
Come on. All right, I'll ask them offline then.
All right, Danny. Who's in the NBA finals?
Oh, so wow. All right. So I'm staying put with the same finals I said when the season started. I'm not changing. As long as the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers are healthy to get to July, they're in the finals. No matter what kind of WWE, WCW,
refereeing,
New Japan wrestling that goes on with LeBron James and officials and everything else.
The fix is not in.
If LeBron's out 10 to 14 days, if he has to go through the 10 to 14 day protocol, that's a different story because that's going to take the majority of the series. If he is healthy and Anthony Davis is healthy, no, I'm taking the Lakers over anybody. You're not beating those two. You're not. In the East, you have 3 of the top 10 offensive players in the league. The Nets will outscore everybody in the Eastern Conference. They're going to score 130 points a game in the playoffs easily. So I'm taking as Lakers and Nets in the finals. Ted will then change hats. He'll take off his Knicks hat for the next week or so.
We know this. Yeah, we know this.
We know this. So you must be
fraud. How am I a fraud when we were traveling to New Jersey?
Yeah,
Ted.
Ace World, where
the tickets were cheap. That's all.
Well, yeah, it was 4 tickets for $40 for
Plus.
4 hot dogs and a Polaroid camera. But
Yes, that was back in the days. I used to like that. That was a good.
So, Ace, here's the thing. You must know Ted for a while then. So you know, as we said on our great show, and Todd knows, Ted's nickname is Teddy Two Teams because Ted has 2 teams. And that's why he's
fraudulent.
You know,
man, just fraudulent.
No. He's not fraudulent. He's open. He's out and open with it. He's out and open with it. So it's not like he's not fraudulent.
You guys are assassinating my character.
Your sports character has been shot down.
Listen, as long as Ted doesn't go Kwame Brown on me, we're okay. All right. If Ted doesn't go full-fledged Kwame Brown on me right now, we're perfectly fine.
Big up to Kwame Brown.
Listen, I'm not saying that man's name at all. Okay, he is not
just
coming
bringing him up.
Nope, I'm not even doing that. He might take it the wrong way. I am not. He is not doing that to me on his YouTube channel. He will not.
So listen.
Oh God.
I do want to talk. The only other game I want to talk about is I don't want to talk about the Lakers because they're going to get smoked by Phoenix. I want to talk. Hopefully, I want to talk about Denver and Dame Dollar and friends.
Ooh, that's gonna be a smoker right there.
I
don't want Denver to win, but they're probably gonna beat them, man. I don't.
Here's the problem on both sides. Denver 6 weeks ago was the best team in the Western Conference 6 weeks ago. I think the only team that could have beat the Lakers with Jamal Murray healthy. It spanned 6 weeks to lost Jamal Murray, and then they lost Will Barton. So now in a series where Portland's main weapons are both in the backcourt with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, it becomes a problem for Denver on the defensive end. Now, on the other side, Denver has the MVP and Nikola Jokic playing at the top of the key. You got Michael Porter Jr., who is looking every bit like a superstar in this league. Aaron Gordon can still do damage on both ends. They have Frank Capazio, who's my age, playing point guard as a rookie. You have Denver is a really good basketball team. Now, with Portland, on the other hand, we talk about Dame Lillard. I think the key for Portland is can Yusef Nurkic do work against his former teammate? Because remember Nurkic and Jokic were both part of Denver at one point. Can he outplay the MVP of the series? If he does, Portland has a chance to win the series. I got Denver in 6. Because, man, Michael Porter, I love Robert Covington, but Michael Porter Jr. is just he's a different type of animal. I think he's ready to be unleashed in the playoffs. So I got Nuggets in 6.
I'm rolling with Tony D. Brooklyn and the Los Angeles Clippers in the NBA Finals.
Why are you picking the Clippers? Why are you picking the Clippers?
I'm picking the Clippers because if you think about the 2 games between Brooklyn and the Clippers this year were the most 2 exciting games of the season that I watched.
They might not get out of the first round of the playoffs.
Who's even on the Clippers roster these days?
I think the Clippers they definitely go to the Western Conference Finals.
The Clippers might not get out of round 1.
This time around, they're going to do it.
They might not get past Dallas in round 1.
Here's what happens.
It's not last year.
The Clippers get to the NBA Finals. They lose to the Brooklyn Nets in 7 games.
Ooh, I say 6. They lose in 6.
Kawhi is going to be so infatuated and filled with love of being in New York. He opts out of his deal
to come to
and then signs a 2-1 with the New York Knicks. Bye, Julius Randle. It was great for the 1 year. And then the Knicks are then going to go to the NBA Finals in 2022. Where's the sound effects, Ace World? That's my not so bold prediction.
You got to hold on to Randall. You got to pair Randall and Kawhi together.
Ted,
you got to put them 2 together in order for them to
Ted, if that fantasy happens,
so Kyle Lowry in the mix, and we have a contending team.
Well, since we're on live television, since we're on live air, if that's the case, Ted, if your prophecy, I mean weird one, comes true, I will hand deliver you a 6-pack to your front door. I will literally hand deliver it to you, and you can put it on Haps. I will deliver you a 6-pack to your house.
Live on Haps.
You know what? I have one question for Ted.
Yes.
Who is your weed man?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't think he smokes, bro.
Because I need to get in there. Because man,
listen, Ted's drinking the heaviest of. I'm talking about. He's drinking Everclear this morning. He's drinking moonshine. He's drinking
I haven't heard that word Everclear. Oh my god.
He is drinking 190 proof alcohol at 10:17 in the morning. Like,
talk about hot taking.
Listen, man, his hot take is by. I mean, he's on Stephen A. Smith level when it comes to hot takes this morning. All I'm saying is that if that were to come true, I will go to Ted's house with a 6-pack of whatever he wants. I will leave my humble abode here in Virginia and drive up 95. I will physically drive to New York.
Put that 6-pack in the cooler. Keep them beers cold. Keep them beers cold. New York, we gonna do this.
Listen, Ace. Ace. You can come to the house and videotape this. I will make sure that Ted has it in his hand.
Okay.
Ted, there's no way. Ted, Here's the thing I have with this. I think the Clippers will re-sign Kawhi in the offseason. I think if anything, I don't think they make the finals because the one problem I have with this is it's not a fact I can't trust Kawhi. I can't trust at any point in the series. I can't trust Paul George.
Playoff
I can't trust him.
Playoff. He falls off in the playoffs. He plays off.
Playoff P.
No, it's not playoff
2 games per series. He's only good for 2 games per series.
I'll say it again. I'll mention this reference. This might be the only time some folks might not get it, but Paul George is the equivalent of Perry the Platypus on the Disney show.
Jesus
Christ. In the regular season, Paul George is Agent P. He is basically out there kicking everybody in the throat. When it comes to the playoffs, he turns into Perry the Platypus. Okay, he sits there and does nothing. All right, it will happen again in the playoffs. I think that if they can get past round 1, Donovan Mitchell will handle. I think the Jazz will handle them in round 2.
Hey, another shameless plug. Tony D is doing a cryptocurrency roundtable tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so archive listeners, if you're listening to this and it's beyond 7 p.m. Eastern time, then you missed it. But it's okay. You can go to Tony D's broadcast and you can pull it up. I will make an appearance because I am the crypto novice, but he's going to have some real experts on there to talk about what happened this week with the crash, what to do, whether buy low, sell high, all the above, and energy efficiency, all of that other type of stuff. So that's the shameless plug for Tony D that we wanted him to come up and talk about, but he's at work right now. So I just want to shift because we're almost at the 1 hour mark.
Hold. So you're telling me the cryptocurrency is going to allow Kawhi Leonard to come to New York? Tony,
we can afford it.
They're going to pay it in cryptocurrency.
Nice salary cap.
They're going to pay him in Dogecoin.
Hey, your thoughts, Danny, a resident expert, and the rest of the ham and eggers that are on the panel, including myself. What is your thought on the MVP? Joker, everyone's favorite son, Curry, or trust the process?
Listen, it's real simple. You look at the MVP candidates. You cannot give an MVP to award for a player who did not make the playoffs. It just doesn't work that way. They didn't make the playoffs. Steph Curry didn't make the playoffs. It is what it is. So it's now down to Joker and it's down to Embiid to me. And to me, Joker's had the better season. He stepped his game into a whole new level, especially after the injury to Jamal Murray. I know the Sixers have the best record in the Eastern Conference, but Embiid missed too much time compared to Joker. So I'm taking Joker. I just wouldn't have had Curry in my top 3 anyway. So So give me Jokic. Jokic as the MVP of the league.
We got Tony D in the building. He's on his break. He's vaping. Yeah. He's got his mask down on his chin.
Tony D, what up?
Tony D, another shameless plug for tonight, please.
Yeah, I'm going to try on anybody who's new to crypto. I got a few people I'm trying to bring up. We're going to try to talk about it, break it down, get everybody introduced to what's going on, what's happening, what it's supposed to be, and who's using it. So hopefully everybody shows up and it'll work. Other than that, I'll do as much as I can to help everybody out as far as learning it. Aside from that, I'm going in pretty hard. Let me find out Kawhi come to the Knicks. I'm moving back to New York, just so everybody knows.
Chip or not, he's pulling up. I spoke to Uncle Dennis last week, and he told me he's pulling up next season. Bet on it. Chip or not, he's pulling up next season.
The Clippers will probably go this season because Kawhi's pretty much rested. Whatever was wrong with him, I think he's going to be good. So he should be all right. I hear what you're saying about Paul George. I'm kind of with y'all on it, but the Clippers supposed to go. Because if they don't go, all that money they spend is gone, and they stuck in that money for the next 5 seasons at least. So
they're going to win it this year, I think. Well, they'll win the West this year.
They're not going to be Brooklyn's got.
They'll win the West. They'll win the West, but they can't be.
They'll win a playoff series. They'll win a playoff series. What's going to happen is if they have to match up with the Lakers, you really think the Lakers are going to lose in their own building? It's like I don't know if y'all.
Why not? I mean, what makes them God to you? I mean, just curious. Like, I mean, you're a Lakers fan?
No, I'm a Hornets fan.
Oh no, I'm curious. No,
I'm a Hornets fan. No,
I was just curious. I mean, because you make it seem like it's an impossible feat. Like nobody can't lose. Like somebody can't twist the ankle and go down or something like that.
That's
you make it seem like
that's the only way the Lakers lose a series. If either LeBron or AD gets hurt, that's the only way to lose a series. Completely healthy. The one thing with the Lakers is that
they're not completely healthy. I don't think.
AD is probably going to get hurt. You can go ahead and book that one. He's probably going to get hurt.
I mean, he'll fall down 4 times this series and get back up 4 times. He might miss some time here or there, but it has to be a serious injury to one of the two. And to Ace's question, why do I think the Lakers own the Clippers? I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys in this panel are older brothers and have little brothers. When have y'all ever lost a fight to your little brother? Exactly. Exactly. Little brothers don't beat big brothers. Okay. The Clippers are the second hand to the Lakers. It's been like this since history. I mean, Death Cactus and the Clippers are a second-rate franchise. Okay, The Clippers won't win until they leave Staples Center. They need their own building.
I believe it.
Listen, get the Jerry Springer crowd. I get it.
They really need to do something with the money they spent, and there's a lot of hype between the new change they're making from the last owner. So I do see them going. They're due. Them and Brooklyn are both due.
They do.
But Brooklyn's not the baby brother.
This, though.
No.
Let me ask you.
They're not, but they will spank the Lakers.
If I entertain the Kawhi to the Knicks thing for a minute,
go ahead.
What's necessary on the Knicks side to actually make that happen as far as cap space? Like, what is their situation, and what has to happen in order for that to be real?
But that's to be real.
You have to renounce.
You have the money. They have the cap space to do it.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. I don't know what their situation is there.
What you do is you renounce Julius Randle. You renounce all the free agents at that point. You sign Kawhi and then bring everybody else back. You just put you're gonna put yourself.
So you're trading Julius Randle for Kawhi, basically.
No, what you're doing is So in free agency, you have what they call a cap hold. The Knicks will have to renounce everybody who has a cap hold on the roster, make them free agents, and then re-sign everybody on the back end. Once you get Kawhi, you're gonna lose a player or two. You might lose, a role. I'm just not thinking off the top of it. For example, like a Derrick Rose, you might lose somebody that is a potential free agent. The Knicks have cap space. To Ace's point, the Knicks have cap space, but you want to make sure that because Kawhi is not going to take anything less than a max deal anywhere he goes, and that he's in the league longer, that max becomes bigger. So you
And
renounce
they can give
Randall.
him more than the Clippers can? Is that how it works? Or
If the Clippers can offer more than anybody else, the Clippers can
okay.
go, but Kawhi's not going to sign a 5-year deal. He's not going to do it.
He's a
Kawhi's
2-year deal.
No,
guy.
he's going to do what Chris Paul did for years. He's going to sign a whole bunch of 2-year deals, same with LeBron, and at the end sign a 5-year deal and basically get paid till he's 40.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kawhi's cheap with money anyway.
Based on what you're saying, the Knicks could damn near almost keep everybody and still get Kawhi.
That's how it's
Well,
going to
the
go
thing is-
down. Watch. That's how it's going down.
That
You're
would
gonna-
be fire. That would be fire.
Or
down.
what you do is, if
Including
Julius Randle's not your guy,
Yeah.
you sign and trade Randle for Kawhi, and then take the additional cap space and go fill out the rest of the roster if you want to do it that way. Because Kawhi and Randle's contract kind of will intersect a bit. Because I think Randle, now with the All-Star team, I think can hit 180.
But to me, it's like, what's the whole problem with the Leonard thing? For me, is what's the point of bringing him in if you haven't addressed the point guard position?
Well, I mean,
that's
you
where
could address it.
The Knicks
You
don't
could
have enough
address
big
it.
men.
That's where we bring a Kyle Lowry
wow.
in for a 2-year deal.
Oh, okay.
We bring him in.
All right.
We bring Kawhi in. We throw him in there in the mix with what we got. We cannot lose Randle. Randle right now is playing like Kawhi was playing before. So let's not get it twisted.
Randle would be
Do
on the
not
team
get it
as
twisted
well.
that Kawhi is not very far ahead of Julius Randle as far as skill set. Let's not get it confused now.
But
I don't know if you look at this year's body of work.
You're taking Kawhi over Julius Randle on any day ending in a Y, and stop it.
I'm not.
You're a Knicks
To
fan.
be honest, because, and I'll tell you why. Because
you're a homer.
the injuries, the load management. You know, there's a few things that factor into it.
But you're telling me
right now,
I
will take Julius Randle right now. I'd keep him. If we had a choice between the two of them, I would keep Julius Randle. His numbers are better this year. He's pretty much was an MVP caliber candidate. Maybe
so what you're saying
bottom
is,
5, but yes.
What you're saying is you wouldn't swap Randle for Kawhi Leonard right now?
No.
Walking
Absolutely
this
not. Absolutely not. No.
Wow.
Why would I?
Which one? Who's older?
Kawhi.
I mean,
Out of curiosity.
Kawhi's older.
Kawhi, and a little slightly damaged, and not
Randle-
reliable every night to play.
But what is
So
Julius
that's the
Randle
downside of him.
But what has Julius Randle ever done in the playoffs?
We're gonna find out tomorrow, partner. You're gonna learn tomorrow.
That's the $64 question, because we all know what Kawhi gives you in the playoffs. And Kawhi lives for this time of year anyway. The regular season doesn't matter to him.
No,
At this point, the regular season is just giggles. He's just there to keep his body in shape. But when it gets to playoff time, you're telling me that playoff series, you would rather have Julius Randle in a playoff series than Kawhi Leonard. You're a homer at this point.
Well, I mean, you can call me any names you want, because that doesn't faze me. I'm not Shane. Shane tactics don't work here. I'm a Knicks fan, and right now I would say, and I'm going to stand by what I say, I'm going to keep Julius Randle. That's what I'm going to do.
Hey, listen, we're all entitled to our opinions. That's why
what it is.
That's why we all podcast. We all have 2 shows.
Yeah,
that's why.
Is it possible that they would both be on the team?
Yeah, it can be. They can make it happen. They can make it happen, definitely.
Yo, let me run back in, fellas. I just want to jump in real quick. My man,
back to work.
Big up to y'all. I ain't met y'all, but man, holler me anytime for real. If y'all come on tonight, we're gonna carry this conversation over a little bit, because I got to elaborate a little bit on what he said, and I like to see how them numbers look good, so we can get both of them. Definitely, Ted. I appreciate the invite.
I'll research Knicks cap space a little bit more. I'll do it and try to stop it tonight.
That would be lovely.
Talk about it. I get with y'all, bro.
All right, Tony D, y'all.
Tony D, thank you, man. Thank you so much. We are at an hour and 9 minutes, and I told a bunch of people that I would only hold them for 30 minutes max. So
I got a battle. I got a sports battle going on at 11:15. So if y'all
battle,
yeah, I mean, you know, I got battleground saved.
Oh, okay. So I know you got to prepare for that.
So Ace, what it is my buddy, the guy I also work with, Mr. Controversy, Raphael Haynes, had a show called 3 Point Conversion, and what it and what we do is a segment called Battlegrounds, which is basically a sports battle, kind of same like a rap battle. 3 rounds, 3 topics. You don't know what it is until the actual competition starts, no matter what sport it is. You got 90 seconds to debate your argument on what the question is. So I got my semifinal match. I haven't lost in almost 2 years in this contest. So I gotta get ready to go to battle and then hopefully take care of this one so I can go ahead and win my money next week.
Le champion in the building.
But no, Ted. I got Lakers and Nets in the championship. I'm still taking Lakers in 6. The same. I'm not changing my prediction. The same way I rolled with the Bucks last year. I'm riding with them. I'm riding with the Lakers again this year.
You rode with the Bucks last year? Oh, my God.
I did. Taylor tell you, I rode with the Bucks. I didn't, even when things went wrong, I rode with the Bucks all year. I don't go against what I say.
Listen, 2015, he was one of the only people I know who was talking about Cavs in 7.
I hear that. Well, everybody that is a LeBron fan, pretty much that was their dream come true. I mean, they will not. I mean, every year they will. How many L's did he take to Golden State? I heard that every time, but it worked once.
The only reason why it's not that is because that's not the finals it should have been. To this day, I still think it should have been Oklahoma City and them in what you call the finals anyway. Because Green should have got suspended in Game 5 against the Thunder when he kicked Steven Adams in the nuts, in the testicles. He should have been suspended for Game 6.
But he could just flail his hand at LeBron's sack and get a suspension. But he could kick the other dude in his joint, hard body. That was hard body. And he could just flail his arms at LeBron and then we sit him out. But that's how politics work.
But it's not that. It's also because of the fact of it was basically the same reason why LeBron James didn't get held out of that game on Wednesday when he was at Drake at his own party on Tuesday, knowing he broke protocol.
Yeah, they need the league. The league needs needs guys that are
if the league
supporters to stay engaged in the show.
If the league needed money, Steph Curry and them won last night.
No, they don't need money. The league doesn't need money. You think that league needs money?
Well, they need ratings.
They want ratings, which I guess translates to commercials money. And XYZ. But listen, it's really not about that. They're just really
the Stephen Curry effect changed the entire Jazz series because now the series got moved to NBA TV the second the Warriors got eliminated last night. The Jazz and Grizzlies became the NBA TV series now because of Stephen Curry losing last night.
Hey, it is what it is. I mean, he didn't have very much help on his team this year.
Danny,
hopefully next year Clay comes back and they'll be back in
Danny
form.
If the Lakers do defeat the Nets,
doubt it,
I will send you a pair of LeBron James pajamas
with that little hat. You got to get the little hat that matches it, like the little Santa Claus, the little sleepy hat,
the sleeping cap. Yeah.
Yes.
So yes. The hat flops all over the place like LeBron does.
Listen. All we know is, if the Lakers lose this series, I expect changes in LA. I expect changes if they lose.
Changes.
No, like I said, barring injury, like I said, as long as I've said it, my whole thing, as long as LeBron and AD are not out for extended periods of time, nobody in the West is beating the Lakers because to me, it's almost the same intimidation as what LeBron had in the Eastern Conference with Cleveland, and everybody was intimidated by Cleveland. The Raptors were basically scared shitless of LeBron. They couldn't do nothing. They
didn't have a you can't win with the best 2 players on your team are 6 feet tall. You're not winning shit.
Ooh, the Raptors?
When they used to meet Cleveland every year in the playoffs, you only had Lowry and DeRozan were their two top players. I'm just saying. I'm not being literal about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if your 2 best guys are little dudes, you're not winning nothing, bro. That's just how the game goes.
But guys,
Steph Curry is an anomaly.
So Danny, this is how I feel about you. I am grateful that the great Danny Thompson was able to join us. Thank you for taking time out. Tell the missus I said hello.
I will.
And we wish you the very best. And hopefully we can get you on next week or after the first round is done. And then we could really kind of drill down on the series. But I want to thank you for your expert analysis of the games that were highlighted, the series that were highlighted. Thank you for talking about the future of the NBA. Did you talk WNBA? Did you talk about?
We didn't get a chance to talk WNBA. The season started, and Ted, you're in the hotbed of the WNBA. I sent Ted a text message. The night Sabrina Ionescu hit the game-winning shot in Barclays, and I'm like, Ted, you and Nemo have to go to a game.
Yes.
Sabrina is the next one. If you think that if anybody's going to take over Broadway, Sabrina Ionescu is the next one. She is the next star. She's Nike. She's Kobe Bryant. She's everything mixed into one. Bernard Delaney, Ted. For years, the Liberty were stuck out in Westchester. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to go out to Westchester. Now they're at Barclays. And Ted, I promise you, going to see Sabrina Ionescu play along with Bernard Delaney, and then they get Natasha Howard back this hopefully sometime next week. Ted, there might be a potential second parade as the Liberty make the playoffs after being 2-20 last year. They're that good.
Can she dunk the basketball? Just curious because I don't watch WNBA.
Ionescu? No. Sabrina learned the game from Kobe Bryant. Okay. She learned the game. She was one of Kobe's proteges, was also a mentor for Gigi Bryant as well, too. She would have won a national championship at Oregon, but COVID took that season away. She is... I mean, she had the fourth triple-double in league history the other night. So she hits the game winner at home in the first game. The second home game, she goes for a triple-double. So, I mean, she's well worth the price of admission. And Ted, I'm telling you, Ace, I think you said you're up in New York too. Yeah. She's worth the car ride, the bus fare, the train ride to go to Barclays to go see her play. I promise you.
No WNBA for me.
Listen. It's the same thing I told my buddy in Atlanta when the Atlanta United soccer team first got there. He was like, man, black people don't watch soccer. I'm like, bro, because he's all everything Atlanta. I was like, bro, go to a game, sit in the stands, and I guarantee you it changed your mind. So he went to the game, and he posted a picture on Facebook with the soccer. What is it, Todd? You know what I'm talking about. He had the soccer scarf. He had an Atlanta United jersey and Atlanta United hat after going to one game. He's like, yo, bro, I got season tickets.
He's all in.
Yeah, soccer games are fun.
Soccer
man.
is not. Yes, I can't compare soccer to WNBA. Soccer is definitely better.
All I'm doing when I go there, like, because we have a man, I don't know what the name. We don't have an MLS team here in Raleigh, but we have like the next tier down. This NCFC, and man, those games are bananas. They have a whole like a whole fan section like behind one of the goals. Man, those people are just drunk and having fun.
Listen, Todd, next season, make the drive down 85, go down to see Charlotte FC. I want to say the West End Zone is going to be what they call so what you're talking about. It's called the supporter section.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's called the supporter section.
Are just drunk and just doing it out there, man.
I covered MLS in Orlando. So, AC, if you've never been to a game, like I said, to Todd's point, they have a supporter section. So, mind you, imagine Orlando, Florida. There is nothing but drunk people standing for 90 minutes, chanting, singing, and just jumping around for 90 minutes. And you see the stuff you see on television, you see in the United States. Once you go to a game, it changes everything.
Yeah.
Ace, when you go to
I've been to a soccer game before. I've been to soccer game soccer game in Colombia before. Trust me, I've been in the mix. I'm just talking about the WNBA is what I don't do. I'll do soccer.
So what I'm saying is
anytime.
I compare that experience with a WNBA game. Just go.
I didn't. We did one time, to be honest. I'm sorry for cutting you off. We did the WNBA before. That's a good promotion, but that just doesn't work for me. Being in New York and the crowd that you're seeing in the game, it just doesn't doesn't work for me.
Was it Westchester?
No, Liberty, Madison Square Garden, bro. This was pre health.
This is when Dolan had it. This is when Dolan
pre health crisis, and yes, this was Madison Square Garden. Yeah,
I'm saying the Liberty might be the best team in New York.
Hey, big up to them then. Let them do what they do.
They might be better than the Knicks. They might go further. They might be better than the Knicks.
Hey, if so, let it happen.
Hey, it's
I'm
all
Hey,
good.
on
It's
New
all good.
York. I'll support him. But you throwing a lot of shots at my Knicks, Playboy. But I see you trying to sneak. I see you trying to throw that sneak shade. But I'm gonna just let that ride.
Listen,
And just pretend you. I'm just gonna ignore that.
Ace, I'll tell you this. For those who know me, I throw shade at 30 NBA teams. Okay, I throw
I'm
shade at
not.
everything.
Look, I'm the shade champ, my man. This is what I
Hey,
do.
listen. So we can throw shade together. The only thing that won't be shaded is Ted Hicks's ability to choose one team. But I'm out, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
who's down? Thank you, Danny.
Yo, peace, Danny, my man.
That was Danny Thompson and all of his greatness. I want to thank him for coming through. He's a pleasure to know. There was a time I had to go to a tech conference in Florida. I was able to skedaddle a little early out of the tech conference, and it was like the movie The Heist. Danny was waiting outside in his car.
Getaway car.
Where we just went through a night of just having a good time.
Nice.
Touring the bars, touring, downtown Orlando. It's just, you know what? And Todd, you can appreciate this because, you living in New York and you moving away from New York. Me being in New York all my life, outside of that small blip when I was in Florida, I can't imagine living anywhere else.
It's hard.
Then in New York,
Yeah.
It's hard.
man, see, I can't imagine living there anymore. That's funny how like I can't imagine living in New York anymore after living here in Raleigh. Like all that had to happen was that first time I went to work when I moved down here, and I got to work, and then one of my coworkers was like, "Oh yeah, it's your first day. Too bad the traffic was so bad." I was like, "Huh?" and 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 then when the next day when I came in, I realized what he meant, that it took me 5 extra minutes to get to work.
Mm.
And I was like, man, yeah, I'm good. I can live like this. so yeah, I mean, it's funny. Just this past March marks 15 years since I lived here. So
Wow.
Wow.
I can't imagine. I don't even want to go back, like to visit, like because it's like, man, everything's a hassle. Like as soon as I get in Jersey,
Facts.
I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. Oh, can I say that on here?
Yeah.
Too late. Too late.
Too late. It's done.
But I'm just like, oh man, here we go. Yeah, I got to fight across this Verrazano and then get on the belt to get the Queen. Nah, I'm closed. So I don't even. So it's funny you all say that, but I get it because when I was living there, I would say the same thing. Man, I can't imagine living anywhere but here. But
Right.
once I got out, it's all about perspective,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perspective, and it's just I'm in love with my little 35-minute commute on the train. It's like you become part of this machine, and I kind of know.
Yes.
I kind of know what to expect, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got 2 stops on this train. Okay, I got 2 stops on this subway. All right, I'm at work. All right, next.
You
Pay
know
me,
what I
and
you
I'm
know
out.
what I you know what I compare New York to?
What?
I compare it to an ant colony. So
Mm.
the funny thing is when I get back, even though on my way up or just leading up to the trip up, because I generally drive. I ain't paying for airline tickets. But what I feel like when I actually get there is I feel like I'm part of the collective again. Like I do feel that I'm back home, and then I assume
Welcome
my
back.
role. I assume my role in that colony,
Gotcha.
and because it's like a living thing, that city. So I mean, I missed that part of it, but it only takes a couple days for me to be in that hustle and bustle before I'm like, I want out.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
but that's what it feels like to me. It feels like a colony, and only us I mean, look, people come there from all over the world, but I get the idea, or I get the feeling that only people like, now the three of us are natives,
Yes.
right? And I get the feeling that only we understand exactly what I'm talking about there. That when you leave and come back, it's like I instantly feel comfortable, even though I may not like it, but it feels normal to me. So that's the thing I miss, is that it's my home. I guess that's hard to take out of it. So
It's in your blood, man.
yeah.
You got a little bit of ant colony up in your blood. Come back,
Exactly.
get back in the mix. It's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of hustle and bustle here. But once you used to it, you're used to it. But when you go somewhere and it slows down a little bit, maybe that is a good feel.
Yeah, and the thing is, if I had to move back there, I would be just fine. I would kind of reassimilate. It's like the Borg cube. I would reassimilate back into it. But so it's, we'll see. I mean, I always say I'll never ever move back there, because there's a good chance I'll leave Raleigh, but I don't see going back to New York. I just can't. I want to go visit my friends and family, but and who can afford to live there anymore?
Billionaire Ted.
the Hicks Arms out in Nassau County, right?
Yo, oh man, facts. Yeah, the cost of living is very high here, and it's just increasing rapidly. Like right now, gas is damn near $4 a gallon.
Cost of living is gross.
It's madness.
It's gross. It is.
Yeah, I'm used to it. I'm used to paying
like
the cost to be the boss.
It's kind of going to be like, before long, it's going to be really rich people and really poor people.
Yeah, basically.
If things keep up that way. So that's the only thing that worries me about it. My father said something interesting to me too. I remember in the late 90s, I was sitting around talking to him, and I was upset about how the city was different and how it was changing, because we could see the gentrification happening then.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And he said something to me that I'll never forget. And if y'all remember my pops, he rarely used my name. And it was basically, he was like, look, boy, the history of this city is change. If you're going to be upset about this city changing, then you need to leave. and that's what I ended up doing. But he was right about that. I mean, New York, the New York that we know is different than the New York he knew when he was in the 60s in Harlem and so forth. So we could all say that, like all I think the kids that are growing up now one day are going to be like, yeah, man, New York, man, I don't know what happened. It used to be
true.
Used to be right, but I mean, we all say that. All New Yorkers say that.
Yeah,
of any age. So when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, all right, I just need to sit back and accept it.
I could just do without the winters. Other than that, I'm fine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But I just want to clarify something. I won't be attending any games this season. I find it highly unlikely that I will attend a game this season. Maybe 2022.
What about a baseball game?
I could do a baseball game. I could do
outdoors.
Yeah, right? it's outdoors. It's outdoors.
I'm gonna be up there. I'm gonna be all up in
nice
them during Bulls games pretty soon. Yeah.
Like I could do a baseball game. It's outdoors.
Soccer and baseball are very doable right now.
Yeah. Indoors, not
venues,
so much.
I'm going to keep those doors closed on the indoor venues till next season, till the smoke clears.
And we hope it clears. We hope it doesn't start spinning up again.
If the smoke clears, let me rephrase that. If the smoke clears, but we're going to stay tuned. Pray for the best and prepare for the worst, I guess.
A Squirrel, tell us about Sunday Night Smoke podcast.
Okay, well, tomorrow, Tomorrow we have Hip Hop Junkies from rap to crap. That's going to be our episode tomorrow. From rap to crap, Hip Hop Junkies. We're going to talk about the de-evolution of the hip hop culture over the past 20 years. And that should be interesting. The due to uncontrollable circumstances, tomorrow I did put a post up in the post board room that we're going to be moving the show tomorrow from 8 p.m. just for this week due to uncontrollable circumstances. Knicks playoff game 1. Our broadcast is going to be moving to 12 noon, so it's going to be Sunday noon smoke tomorrow.
Really?
And, yes, we're doing Sunday noon smoke tomorrow. So pull up on Sunday and on the
right
early
after church.
Right after church. Right after church. And for the unchurched, right around the time that you're rolling out of bed. So we're going in 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
So everybody out there listening, tune in if you.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't see the time change, but
I'm gonna repost after I pull up out of here. I'm gonna take the post board down and repost it with the new time.
Okay.
I just added a note to the bottom of it, but I don't think that may have been effective enough. So I'm gonna repost.
Okay. Got it.
Yes. Thanks for the plug, sir.
Yeah, no, anytime. Todd, when can we expect you to see you back again? You think we could do something in, let's say, in a week and a half when Division 1 is done?
Yeah, I can do that. A couple things. Also, we need to do something on wrestling.
We do need to do something on wrestling.
Let me know when you're ready for that.
Okay.
Wrestling.
Okay. We'll do something on wrestling. We'll bring in. We can bring in a couple of. I know a couple of people that talk wrestling. They don't talk it the way we talk it, but they're from a different generation. So I think that conversation would be interesting because our wrestling is Google to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's that's what I appreciate, and we probably will get into this, but that's what I appreciate so much about what AEW is doing now. Because it's that, man, I feel sometimes I watch that show and I feel like I'm in 1987 all over again. So
I gotta tune into that, man. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I mean it's so that, and also I don't have too much detail, but I got an iron in the fire about a little show that I want to do.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm testing the concept now and tweaking it a little bit.
Let us know. We're going to support.
So yeah,
sure.
So I'll let you know when that happens. All I want to do now is see if it actually works in the way I want to do it. So I'll figure that out and let you know. But yeah, we got to do something on wrestling for sure.
Definitely. I don't think Nick game is the late game tomorrow, correct?
I believe 7 p.m. tip off.
Okay, so I don't think we'll be doing a late night parent because we usually do it 7 p.m. Eastern on Sunday nights. That's kind of like where we always did the original radio show.
Yes.
We did the podcast on Wednesdays and we did the radio show on Sunday nights. Big shout out to 1240 a.m. WGBB in Long Island, Merrick, New York. Hopefully I'll see you guys again someday. But if I don't, I am to WGBB. I am grateful to you guys too. So
very humble. I like it.
Yeah, you gotta keep it humble. Other than that, I think we are out. Ways to listen to the show are latenightparents.com. You can follow Todd. What's the best way to follow you, Todd? Or are you?
I don't really have much of a presence, but I will when I get what I'm doing up and running.
Okay.
So right now it's just here.
Okay. And Ace World, best ways to follow you?
Right here on Haps TV, Sunday Night Smoke, the podcast. You could also contact me, sundaynightsmoke@gmail.com.
All right. That's the conventional way. I remember we used to contact each other by email.
Well, that's usually the suggestions. Well, I kind of keep that email flowing for the listeners to submit topics that they would like to hear us discuss on a weekly basis.
Okay.
So I keep that line open.
Okay.
Basically for the topic submission for the shows.
Definitely.
Yeah, I need to get in there tomorrow night because tomorrow at noon.
Yes.
I got a hockey game tomorrow, but I can be in there for a little bit. So
yeah, pull up.
Thanks for
it's going to be very interesting.
Know.
Oh,
yeah, it's a topic that I definitely want to hear about. So
I got a youth football game tomorrow at 1. Well, 1 o'clock drop off. Game doesn't start to 3:30. So that to me smells like.
Jesus. What are they doing for 2.5 hours?
The kids are stretching.
Kids are stretching. They're going through
load management.
Last second game planning. I'm like, this is youth football. Come on now.
Damn. Yeah.
Oh, they got to have time to cook the hot dogs.
A bunch of 13 and 14-year-olds.
Oh my God!
So my game is at 2 tomorrow. So I'm showing up there at 1:30.
Right.
Oh, you got it good.
What are they doing for 2.5 hours?
For 2.5 hours. When I tell you last week, we got there about 2:30. Game started at 4:30, and I just had the most closed look on my face.
That's when you start. That's when you just take the celly out and do a podcast from the car. And I'm not co-signing those sitting in my car podcast either.
Yeah. Oh, the sitting in my car rants.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Listen, I've gotten in enough trouble the last few weeks about comments that I've made.
All right, my bad. My bad.
So, no. It's just.
You okay?
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, why not? I guess I'm an authority figure out here. I say something, everyone just gets,
Cancel Ted.
Oh no, so I'm gonna take that back. No, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna go do a podcast from the car tomorrow. I'm gonna be live from the car.
Okay, do it from the car. All right, man, we're out.
All right.
Later. Thanks for having me.